Hey everyone, so lately I've been thinking about the whole thing about there is no viruses. Um, and it's very interesting. And I was reading some writing by Dr. Stephen Lanka, who's a German biologist. And just the fact that the germ theory is wrong. And I feel like this could be a really great angle for the whole vaccine argument, because if their argument stands on the germ theory foundation, then we could break their foundation by talking about this very topic instead of fighting them in their arena. I feel like they want us to fight back and forth about whether vaccines work or not. So this is why I find this topic really interesting. So I'm learning. I'm still learning. And you know, how many have been taught? What's the matter? What happened? How many of us been taught since we were little about catching stuff and viruses? So it's hard, even for my mind, because we've been taught to think a certain way for so long. But actually, when I'm reading this by Dr. Stephen Lanka, it really makes sense. It resonates with me. So I'm not gonna finish the whole article right now. I'm just gonna read it, and it might be like 4 separate videos or something like that. But I'm gonna link it in the description box, so whoever wants to read it can read it. So this is the article, and it's called Dismantling the Virus Theory. The measles virus as an example. Why should we doubt the existence of viruses? What are viruses and what are they not? How are viruses being scientifically demonstrated to exist? Author Dr. Stephen Lanka. Scientists must question everything, and especially what they love the most. For example, their own discoveries and ideas. The basic rule of scientific research helps avoid this basic rule of scientific research helps avoid erroneous developments and reveals the ones that already exist. Also, we must all be allowed to question the status quo, otherwise we would live in a dictatorship. That's kind of what we're feeling right now in regards to vaccines. Moreover, science cannot be limited to a select number of institutions and experts. Science can and must be conducted by anyone who has the necessary knowledge and appropriate methods. Science can be considered science only if its claims are verifiable, reproducible, and if they allowed predictions. Science also needs external control because, as we will see, part of the medical sciences has lost touch with reality for quite some time. Anyone who has knowledge of biology and the genesis of life, of the development and functions of the tissue, of the body, and of the brain will automatically question the assumptions about viruses. In the reality of the body and of its mechanisms, there is no place for hypothetical malignant processes. All biological processes, including those that can end in suffering, pain, and death, are originally meant to be useful. A different approach to the virus phenomenon is possible and necessary. Any layman with some background knowledge reading scientific papers about pathogenic viruses can realize that such viruses do not exist, and what is being described are only typical components and characteristics of cells. This background knowledge will be provided in